Any questions on dreams, you and your health? And what I said so far on dreams, you and your health. Is this the question section? Yeah? Looking for questions, guys. Anything you want to share? Something about your experience of dreams? Something about how you feel about your dreams? Hi, Manjari. Welcome. Any questions from any of you on dreams? As a video? Sure. So I have Dr. Jayashree who requested to join. Jayashree Rao from one of our patients to join us if you would like to share something. Hi, Pritesh.
Dr. Divya, there are some new followers who joined us lately. Could you again give us a little more on what you were talking? People who kind of joined later probably may not know.
So for those who joined us a little late, what we were talking about and what we talked about was dreams and the significance of dreams and where do the dreams come from. So the dreams come from the movie of our life from childhood to today that is stored in the automatic brain. The automatic brain is dominated by our thinking brain in the daytime. The daytime brain focuses on the outer movie of our life. When we go to sleep, this daytime brain, this second PVR theater with the loud sound and popcorn and coke shuts down. We go to sleep, theater shuts down. But the other theater constantly keeps playing. We are hearing the sounds and the movie from PVR2. PVR2 is the movie of our life from childhood to now, of which some sections and some reels keep playing again and again. So scenes from our life, every scene is recorded as an Insta photo or a video reel in parts of our brain. Some of these scenes, if they are associated with fear, emotion, shock, surprise, which results in neurochemicals, these scenes get highlighted. They are more prominent. They are on the top of the folder, more easily accessed. Therefore, these scenes play more repeatedly in that movie of life. In the outer movie of life, the world changes. But inner theater, PVR2, same old movie of our childhood is playing again and again. Now, when we are asleep and it is this movie that is playing, it is scenes from this movie that are represented as dreams. Therefore, you understand how important the dream is. Because the dream is directly a access to the movie of your life. We all know that our childhood is very important to the making of us as an adult. It's not only important from personality development, but also important from how our body functions are maintained and eventually in the maintenance of disease. Therefore, looking at these dreams becomes very important. As somebody asked, how does a homeopath look at the dreams? The homeopath looks at the dreams exactly by understanding how the brain has recorded the dream. This brain is your brain and my brain. Sometimes we hear brain and we get kind of, intimidated. I don't want to deal with all these technical things. But it's your brain. It's controlling your whole life. Let us own our brain. So, our brain sees these scenes of life as a jigsaw puzzle. When we sleep at night, one piece from one scene say maybe when we were 5 years old. Another piece from another scene, maybe when we were 7 years old. A third piece from another scene when we were 10 years old, join together and form a new dream or a new scene that makes no sense at all. So, whether it is you who are trying to understand your dream, to empower yourself to make healthier decisions in life and to have a healthier body, or the homeopath who's trying to understand the dreams, what we do is take the dream as a whole, as a visual, then break it up into the different pieces like a jigsaw puzzle. Then we say, now where from your childhood does this piece come from? And as the patient takes that piece and says, oh, this was when I was 5 years old, when we went to my nanny's house, where there was a sea, and for the first time I saw a crab and got scared. So, from this piece, from the dream, we take it to his scene from the movie of his life, which was associated with fear, and reconstruct that scene from the movie of his life. Then we take the other piece. As we do this with the number of dreams of the patient, especially recurrent dreams, we see which are those reconstructed scenes from a patient life that is playing like a loop constantly. This theater, PVR2, has the same movie scenes playing day, night, 24 hours without popcorn coke. So when we sleep, no popcorn coke, this outer movie shuts, these scenes are playing. When those particular scenes play, if that scene, like the patient scene on the beach with the crab, is associated with fear, every time that scene plays, it's creating the same neurochemicals of fear in our body. Same adrenaline is forming, even though we are not consciously feeling the emotion of fear. But that chemical is being produced. That chemical is now affecting our heart, affecting our sugar, affecting our digestive system. And when this repeatedly keeps happening, it will ultimately create those systems to go faulty and ultimately result in disease. So the homeopath takes your dreams, takes each of these pieces of your dream, builds those scenes which are playing again and again in this PVR2. From them, looks at these scenes and recognizes which is the remedy I need to give to remove these highlighted scenes. Let them become the normal scene of life now. Let them not be a highlighted scene that's playing as a loop. So the homeopathic remedy breaks this loop and stops these scenes playing again and again, thus, therefore, making sure that the effects on your body don't happen, as well as the decisions that you take in your life are taken from the actual situations in the outer movie and not from the situations that happened in childhood, have nothing to do with life now, but we are acting as if those situations are still playing. So I hope I answered that question as well as gave a re-summary to people who joined us later on. Again, this is open to you for your questions.
Dr. Divya,
welcome. Any questions?
Dr. Divya, we have a question. People say that they don't remember their dreams.
Absolutely, and that's the whole beauty about dreams, right? Because like I said, PVR1, PVR2. Dreams come from this PVR2 movie. It's a small theater, quiet, dark, no popcorn. The first theater movie of our life is loud, bright, lots of light, stereophonic sound. So when we are asleep, this theater is shut. we hear this movie, we see this movie. The moment we wake up, this theater door opened, thak, stereophonic sound, bright light, and this is our dominant brain, the dominant theater. We quickly shift into this outer movie. The moment we shift to this outer movie, we can't hear and see this movie any longer. And once we can't hear and see this movie any longer, it shuts down. And then we're saying, I don't remember this. I know there was a dream. It was so vivid. It felt real. But I can't remember. I wish somebody would remind me. Now, who will remind you? Only you are there. And therefore, the way to remember the dream is to keep an open paper and pencil. The moment you wake up, before you look at your phone, before you think, Arey, doodh wala has come outside, I have to make tea. Before you say, okay, what do I have to do today? First, write down the points of your dream. Once you write the points of your dream, an hour or two later, dictate it to yourself, audio record it, or write it down, then you will never forget it. Then it will be clear and vivid. But if you say, it's so bright, it's so vivid, I will not forget this dream, let me just brush my teeth and have a cup of tea. And suddenly you say, okay, now I will write my dream, and you take the paper and pen, and it's gone. It's gone because you can't hear this movie any longer. You're only hearing the other movie on the outside. So I hope, Megha, I answered that question for those who joined us. More questions on
more questions. When kids have nightmares or when kids wake up with a fright, what's your take on that?
So, kids, when they are waking up with fright, they are absolutely seeing some scenes from their life that were frightening to them. And they are replaying them in their dreams. And that's why they wake up with it. Just look at the child. The child is born not knowing anything. Child is born just with senses, the five senses. Now they're exposed to this whole gamut of the world. One day we take them to a restaurant, one day they've gone to a park, suddenly they see a bee somewhere, suddenly we take them from a movie and they hear something loud they've never seen, start crying. Suddenly we take them to the restaurant and ambulance goes by. Multiple new inputs that can create a fright into the child. So when the child wakes up with the fright or speaks something in the nightmare, as a parent, note down what they said. And then in the daytime, speak that word to them and allow them to speak what happened, what did they see. And then they might tell you things that make no sense. So, for example, they'll tell you there is a ghost in the cupboard. And as a parent, we start saying, oh my God, there are no ghosts. Listen, ghosts don't exist. See this cupboard. Open it. Kuch nahi hai iske andar. I don't want my child to get up, be a scary booby. What you should ask the child is, so yesterday, what is it that you saw in the cupboard? What happened in the cupboard? Now, what may have happened is the child could have opened that cupboard and suddenly something may have fallen and the child may have suddenly got scared. At the same time, yesterday, some school friend told him, my cook told me कि banyan tree के ऊपर ghost रहता है. वो ghost तुमको खा जाएगा. So now the kid puts both these things together and the fears juxtapose in his dream, and then he tells you, bhoot hai cupboard mein. Right? And then we keep appealing to his logic and telling him, dekho, bhoot nahi hai. The problem is, this bhoot in the cupboard is from the other movie. We are trying to address it in this movie. It's not going to go there. The way to do it is ask them, kal cupboard mein kya hua? तुमने कबर्ड में क्या देखा सेपरेटली. देन आस्क हिम, अच्छा भूत क्या होता है, भूत किधर रहता है. Thus when you break them down to the different scenes and approach each of these things separately, that's when you will be able to address the fear of the child. So then he would say, oh, गिर गया था उधर से, then you tell him, हाँ वो भारी चीज है, वो गिरती है, ध्यान रखो तुमको हल्का चोट लग सकता है. So you are putting it in perspective. Then he will say banyan tree में फ्रेड ने बोला. Then you can explain to him कि actually ghost नहीं होते. पुराने जमाने में रात को in the banyan tree, because plants give out carbon dioxide in the night, therefore maybe to avoid people going under the tree at night so they don't breathe carbon dioxide, this story was created. So like this you can address rationally their actual fears by breaking it up, by seeing that where from their actual scenes they have come. It's like this. Sometimes there was a patient who came to me and said, I have this dream, but I can't even speak it out. I feel so bad, I can't speak it out. I said, tell me. And then the patient said, I dreamt that my aunt, she died. And I'm so scared. What if my dream comes true? And why did I dream this? I said, was your aunt sick? Is there a problem? She says, no. She's quite fine. I really like her. I really love her. I don't know why I'm getting this dream. And she was ridden with guilt. And then I said to her, listen, this is not how the dreams work, right? Tell me, when I talk about your aunt, what is it that comes up first? She says, my aunt is right now visiting. And so I am often going out and meeting her. We are going shopping and, we are spending a lot of time together. And I said, okay, now tell me death. So I broke the dream, aunt and death, right? Separate them. And I said, now tell me about death. She said, my best friend's aunt, she was very old and sick and she was in hospital. She expired 3 days ago. And so we had gone for that 7th day or whatever, that ceremony, cremation. So then I explained to the patient, see, this is what happens. This is how this brain works. Aunt was prominently playing in this movie, scenes with your aunt. The second scene which was there was your friend's aunt who expired. Another scene that was playing constantly. Now in the brain, these two scenes joined and became a new scene, which became your aunt's death. Do you understand? So it doesn't mean that you're thinking bad for your aunt. It doesn't mean that you want your aunt's death. It doesn't mean your aunt is going to die. It simply means these are the two prominent scenes that have been playing in your life and they are running a little constantly right now, which is why they've come together. Do you understand this? Yes? So children's dreams are easier. Their life is happening all around them. We access what's happening. And as adults as well, this is how we need to break our dreams into different pieces and take them to where they come
from. Okay. That's amazing. I think people are quite happy with how you're kind of explaining them. So there's one more question, that there's some person who says that they had a childhood dream of falling from a height. What does that mean?
So the dreams of falling from a height are often, there are some dreams that are quite kind of common dreams, right? And one of the dreams is like a falling from a height dream where a person tends to wake up in anxiety. So one direct way to look at this is, if it's a child, which is the place the child went to where there was a height? What happened, not necessarily in that height? Like say, supposing your child, when he was 3 years old, you all went to Lonavala, right? And in Lonavala or Mathiran, let's say, you went to many of those points, right? Many points with the child. And when I asked you, you'll say, but the child was not afraid. The child loved it. He was playing. Nothing happened. I'll ask you, anything happened in any of those heights? And you'll say, no, nothing happened. It was all fine. But yeah, we would tell the child, be careful. Ekdam edge pe mat jana, right? So the child was fine, but every time the child would go towards the railing, the parent would get anxious and come and say, dur aa jao, thoda dur aa jao. So while nothing happened, that high position or height in the child's brain is recorded along with the neurochemical of fear. that there is something in this height story which has the same neurochemical as fear, right? Now, when we go into, then I asked the mother, what other things on this trip on Mathera? And she says, oh, one scene I remember, we were staying in this bungalow and the child was happily playing and that bungalow ka caretaker had this big Alsatian. Now this Alsatian was really a friendly dog. He was very sweet. But my son was chota. He was sitting in this garden and this Alsatian came like almost taller than him. And he screamed and cried and didn't stop. And it was like it took us 2 hours to calm him down. So then we understand that when this child is replaying in his head a dream of falling from a height, Mathiran has got associated with dog, fear, and height. So in his life, maybe outside, if suppose tomorrow you took him to the garden to play and there were people walking their dogs, the visual of the dog outside opened that old Mathiran movie of life. And this, from that Mathiran movie, any one clip can come. Maybe you can see just the garden. Maybe you will see the height, and then because there is anxiety, as if the falling is from the height. How do you address this, therefore? Right? You address this by recognizing that the prime issue there was that of the dog. And you focus your attention on getting him rid of the fear of the dog. Once his fear of the dog goes, the dreams of falling from the height will stop. You understand? Whereas what you might think is, let me take this guy on a tall building and make him look down and he's not afraid. But he was not afraid of the height. So he's going to look at you like, aapko kya ho gaya? But his fear of the dog in Mathiran has got associated with this hill and mountain. And therefore, every time he sees the dog, he'll dream of this mountain. So you address the fear of the dog, the dreams of the falling from the mountain will go. I hope that was clear. That was a very good question. And there were a couple of other questions that were there.
Yeah, one more.
Simran, some people want to join the feed, and I'm going to let's start with Simran. Simran wanted to join. I don't know if she really wanted to join, but it was a mistake. Yeah, does she want to join? No?
One more question, Dr. Divya, we have from somebody who says that why do we remember only certain parts of the dream and not the chronological sequence of the dream?
Very good question. And just to reiterate, right, this is the difference in these two parts of our brain. Next part of our brain. Now don't get worried. Neocortex, she's now talking all hi-fi terms. It's your brain. It's just the front part of the brain, the one you use for thinking, for your work every day. That brain, its language is chronological sequence, time-wise, logical. Ye karo, fir wo karo, fir wo karo. That's how this brain works. The automatic part of our brain, which is on an auto mode, like when you drive a car, you can talk on the phone, think, solve multiple problems, but you're driving the car automatically, even if it's a manual car, because it's coming from the automatic brain. You and I are talking, our hearts are beating, urine is being made by the kidney, it's automatic. So this automatic brain has a different language, a different way of functioning than this brain. This brain is the chronological brain. This brain, everything is broken up. It is broken up. Like if this scene, say you are looking at me, when you are looking at me and listening to me, what I'm saying and the chronological sequence is getting recorded in the front of your brain. In the back, in the automatic part of your brain, this whole scene with the light, my face, brickwork, lights are all being broken up as different visual images, different sound images, different light, and being stored in different folders of the brain. That's why when we have flashbacks or when we have the dreams, they don't follow a sequence. They will be tuta, one piece, another piece, another piece, another piece. Like in life, we would say, I want to go to Pune, so I go to the train, I catch a train from there, then I get off at the station, then I take a cab. But in the dream, it doesn't happen like this. In the dream, suddenly you will be in Bombay, then next minute you will be in Pune. Third minute you will be in Jumri Talaya or wherever else. Because the dream is exactly like that. One piece, another piece, another piece, they join together without time. Time, space, and chronology has no meaning in this brain. That's why when you are dreaming, you feel ye abhi ho raha hai, right? Because what is happening is a nerve circuit is being activated. It's like this, na? वो मूवी का रील चल रहा है, वो मूवी आज शूट हुई है कि 10 साल पहले शूट हुई है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. यू वॉच हम आपके हैं कौन टुडे और यू वॉच हम आपके हैं कौन 10 years before or 10 years later. The movie has been shot God knows when, but the play of that movie will be the same. Because in this part of the brain, time, space has no meaning at all. If you watch the movie Matrix, right, that's what it's all about. It's all about this part of the brain where time is not important, right? Which is why you can be sitting and talking to somebody and suddenly your mind goes away into another place and you start thinking of the holiday 10 years ago. जिसका इसके साथ कोई connection नहीं है, right? Because that's how this brain is. So I hope that explains to you why things don't follow a chronological sequence. That's how this brain is. It's all broken up into pieces. And our dreams also therefore come like that.
Great. I think that's a very, very nice explanation to why the dreams are not chronologically arranged. One more question from Anju Melwani. She asked, are there some dreams that we never forget and how does that happen?
So that question from Anju also matches another question that you asked and I didn't fully answer. Why do some scenes seem to repeat, right, in our life, in the story of our life? Therefore, why are some dreams recurrent? You know, sometimes people say, yay dream I get again and again. Number 3, why is it that I remember some of the dreams? So, I will answer each of these 3 points. Some of the dreams, some of the scenes from our life, which were associated with fear, shock, surprise. So, you know, we think, the way we are trained is we first think, then we have an emotion, then the body ka chemicals happen. Actually, it's not like that. It's exactly ulta. First chemicals happen, then we recognize कि ये emotion है, फिर हम उसके बारे में सोचते हैं. तो जो scenes में chemicals आते हैं, these are called neurochemical. Neuro मतलब brain का nerve cell, उसको neuron बोलते हैं. So anything associated with the brain, we call it neuron. So chemicals that are released in the brain are called neurochemicals. Now, जब भी कोई नई चीज suddenly सामने आती है, some neurochemical can get released. कुछ happiness का neurochemical, कुछ sadness का neurochemical, कुछ डर का neurochemical, कुछ surprise का neurochemical. जब the neurochemical released is one associated with fear and shock or grief, sad. वो neurochemical बहुत strong होते हैं, इसलिए उनको trauma बोलते हैं, right? They are like trauma episodes. छोटा traumas also, mini traumas, big traumas. These release these neurochemicals. These neurochemicals act like glue between the different nerve cells. And because they act like firm glue, वो वाले scene को एकदम prominent बना देते हैं. The pieces of that scene get glued together. That scene becomes a very important, उसमें जैसे underline कर दिया है, highlighter से वो mark हो जाता है. वो फोल्डर के टॉप ऑफ द पाइल पे रहता है. And that's why that scene keeps repeating. वो ड्रीम में भी वही सीन रिपीट होता है. In the movie of our life, that scene repeats. Now, Anju asked a question. Why is it we remember some dreams? Now, this is an interesting question because in this question, it works both ways. Sometimes we remember the dreams because they make sense to us, because we can relate to it. So, for example, I had a particular ट्रॉमेटिक एपिसोड से मेरा कुछ एग्जाम पेपर नहीं अच्छा गया, राइट? और मुझे वो ड्रीम आता है कि वो एग्जाम पेपर में जाके लिख रही हूँ, एंड देन आई अंडरस्टैंड कि वो वाला पेपर में मैं टेंस थी, वो पेपर अच्छा नहीं हुआ था, तो जब भी मैं टेंस होती हूँ वही पेपर का ड्रीम आता है मुझे. दिस ड्रीम इज एक्चुअली लेस इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज ये हमारे कॉन्शियस ब्रेन से आ रहा है, इसका मुझे सेंस समझ आता है. ये मेरे एंजाइटी और मेरे मेरे को उधर दुख हुआ था वो मुझे याद है, तो वो ड्रीम याद रहता है, राइट? द ड्रीम्स दैट एक्चुअली आर मोर इम्पोर्टेंट आर द वंस दैट वी टेंड टू फॉरगेट, और समटाइम्स वी टेंड टू रिमेंबर बिकॉज दे मेक नो सेंस. कभी कभी फॉर एग्जाम्पल पेशेंट को एक ड्रीम आया, वो पानी के नीचे है एंड person is under the water and suddenly a dragon comes out of nowhere, and as the dragon is coming, suddenly some man comes wearing a big armor suit and a knife, and he puts the knife into the dragon, and then when he lifts that dragon it becomes a piece of apple, right? Now this dream is completely bizarre. It's like those surreal Salvador Dali concepts which makes no sense, and because it makes no sense we tend to remember it कि और देखो मेरे को ड्रीम में क्या आया, एंड वी रिपीट इट. वो 2-3 लोगों को हम बोलते हैं कि अरे मेरे को क्या वियर्ड ड्रीम आया था, पता है वो एक पानी में ड्रैगन है, फिर वो आर्मर वाला आदमी आया, फिर उसने छुरी डाला, फिर एप्पल निकला उसमें. आई मीन हु टेक्स ड्रीम्स लाइक दिस? So when we repeat the dream many times because it's so weird, that's the other time we remember it. So that I remember the dream does not necessarily make the dream important. You recognize the importance of the dreams when they actually make no sense to you. When they are टूटा 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 टूटा, वहां पे टाइम और स्पेस का कोई मीनिंग है, तो वो वाले ड्रीम ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं rather than the dream which makes sense to you. मतलब मेरा आज चार्मी से झगड़ा हो गया, तो मेरे को 2 दिन चार्मी दिखती है, मैं उससे झगड़ा कर रही हूँ, अरे मैं I'll remember the dream. It's because मेरा उससे झगड़ा हुआ था. It's not important. It's related to the present moment. It is a superficial response to what is happening अभी. तो ये less important है. वो दूसरा dream जो मैंने नहीं याद रखा because मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया, couldn't understand. Which is why when we as homeopaths ask a patient the dream, we often tell them, tell me that dream that doesn't make sense. We tell them वो ड्रीम तुमको ठीक से याद नहीं होगा, उसका बिगिनिंग एंड तुम नहीं बता सकते हो. यू कैन ओनली गिव मी लिटिल टूटा पिक्चर्स फ्रॉम इट. इट्स फाइन. दैट्स द ड्रीम आई वांट. So that was a very good question, Anju. I hope I clarified the answer to that. What is the other question?
So, Dr. Divya.
One more question that Dr. Charmi just noted down. Somebody asked, what does a dream of tsunami mean? Now, 2 things. If a patient tells me the dream of tsunami, then I would ask the patient, has he experienced anything like a storm, like anything like a water wave, right? Or any episode. So suppose in the tsunami he sees waves are coming, right? Then I would ask him, childhood, waves, water, what is it that comes in front of you? Now the child could have been a small kid playing near the water. Suddenly the tide upar aaya and the child piche dar ke chala gaya. Now for the child, that wave is a big wave. When translated into the dream, it becomes a big tsunami. Do you understand? It doesn't mean the person has actually seen a tsunami. Do you understand? It just means that the person had this experience with water. The response to that water was exaggerated like it would happen with a tsunami. right? So again, you don't take the word tsunami, you ask the patient ki exactly tumko kya dikha, or your friend or yourself, what did you see? See, tsunami is a word vocabulary is in this brain. Automatic brain में words है ही नहीं, सिर्फ पिक्चर है, स्मेल है, टेस्ट है, साउंड है, सेंसेशंस है. वर्ड्स हम लोग यहाँ ढूंढते हैं उसका. So remove the word tsunami, hold the actual picture, because what is a tsunami for you will be different for me. In my visual, what do you see? Did you see a boat? Did you see water? Did you see animals dead? Did you see cheezein udti hui? Did you see water? Did you see things floating around? Then what you do is you break it up, you know, and वो dead animal, suppose उसको दिखा dead animal floating in water, उसको तोड़ दो and say dead animal, childhood. What is the image that comes to you? Water rising up to a certain level. What is the image from childhood? There will be two different images, two different scenes, two different time zones and geographical locations. लेकिन ड्रीम में वो juxtapose होके पानी, उसमें डेड एनिमल, वेव्स आ रहे हैं, इसको हम नाम देते हैं सुनामी. And so when you tell it to me, you'll say it is the dream of tsunami. Yes?
Great. Yes. So, Dr. Divya, is it the reason that's why we don't take the dreams that are of our day-to-day activities, like when people tell us?
Yes. So that is the reason that we don't directly take, and I mean we take them, but those dreams we give the least importance, because that is coming from the recent memory. Recent memory wala brain apna front wala thinking brain hai. Right? That we are aware of, we are conscious of, we deal with. Abhi jhagda kal hua, abhi kal we will make up. You know, it is like that. But jo bachpan ka reel chal raha hai, वो तो हो चुका है, उसका मेकअप का चांस भी गया है, लेकिन वो मेरे दिमाग में तो चल रहा है. तो वो रील ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है rather than आज और कल का झगड़ा.
Great. Yeah. Okay, because most of the patients when we talk to, they usually tell us कि I just see whatever has happened in my day-to-day activities.
Right. Because that's the dreaming का they remember, है ना? वो अपने conscious brain में है तो वो याद आता है, तो वो easy होता है, right?
Yeah.
Because we are talking in the daytime when our conscious brain, तो वो वाला dream that makes sense ना. So when it makes sense, we remember it. That is natural to this brain.
Yes.
What makes sense, this brain holds. Then what doesn't make sense, it's going to say this is nonsense. ये मुझे नहीं समझता है. वो जो नहीं समझता है, वो this brain में से आता है. And that's the one that we need, because जो हमें पता है, what we are conscious of, we can deal with ना. अब मुझे पता है कि मैंने इससे झगड़ा किया, तो अभी दो चीजें, या तो मैं अभी I stop talking to her for the rest of the life, or I make up. वो मुझे पता है, I am upset, क्यों upset हूँ, क्या है, वो मुझे पता है. लेकिन जब मैं when I was 10 years old मेरे बेस्ट फ्रेंड से अपसेट थी, अब वो गई, कहाँ गई मुझे पता भी नहीं. वो अपसेट अगर मेरे PVR 2 में वही अपसेट चल रहा है, मुझे उसका पता भी नहीं है, मुझे कॉन्शियसली उसका ध्यान ही नहीं है कि ये चल रहा है, लेकिन उसके इफेक्ट मेरे बॉडी पे हो जाएगा. Because जो बॉडी के फंक्शंस है, the parts of the body function are in this part of the brain, same automatic part of the brain. तो ये केमिकल यहाँ रिलीज हो रहा है, डायरेक्ट एक्शन बॉडी पे हो रहा है, यहाँ मुझे पता ही नहीं है ये हो रहा है. Whereas जब मेरा अभी झगड़ा हुआ, तो मुझे पता है मैं अपसेट हूँ, मुझे फील हो रहा है मैं अपसेट हूँ, वो केमिकल रिस्पॉन्स मुझे पता है, लेकिन यहाँ वाला मुझे पता ही नहीं. I am totally unconscious of it. I am unaware of it. So the effect it's going to have on my system, I don't know. And that's the part that we need to recognize. That's the part we want to bring into the conscious. Because we cannot become fully healthy people. Physically, mentally, socially, we cannot be completely healthy unless हमें अपने जो वो scenes which are in the loop of our life, unless we know those scenes, bring them to the consciousness and deal with them, those scenes will constantly hamper our life, our decision making, our health. And as Hanuman said, they will not allow us to be who we really are, to achieve our higher purpose of being. Matlab, all of us are beings that are perfect. We can do anything. We have the capacity to be and do anything at all. What stops us is our prejudices. These prejudices come from childhood. They keep running and like strings, they keep pulling us back. Then these scenes affect the body function. They also pull us back. So if we want to be truly free to be and do whatever we want to, ये strings को हमको तोड़ना है. And to break the strings, we need to recognize कि ये string हमारे life से, from our life, which part of the automatic brain are they going into? वो scene को we got to open and see and say, अरे हो गया 10 years के थे, finished, done, move on, chuck, let the scene go. Then we will break that string completely.
Yes, that makes so much sense. Yes. One last question I think we have from Dr. Bhakti, who's asking, what is the significance of sequential dreams? As if it continues, like the continuation of dream, the next time we wake up and the same dream continues again.
So, Dr. Bhakti, because she's a homeopath, is asking a technical homeopathic question to patients. Ki sometimes we get a dream and then we wake up, go to the loo, go to drink water, and then the dream continues with some variation, right? Again, we would look at the dream in the same way. But if that same sequence is repeating and then there is a variation each time, the more important thing from the point of view of the homeopath is look at the variation. मतलब वो sequence important नहीं है, वो variation is pointing you towards something else. The bits that don't fit, वो जो हटके है, that which doesn't make sense. Supposing you as a homeopath or as a lay person, suddenly, there is a situation in life where you recognize कि कुछ ज़्यादा हो गया. You know how sometimes you have said something or you got upset or you got excited and you come back and you ask something, ज़्यादा तो नहीं हो गया, right? What has happened? There is a part of you that recognized that something in your response was not appropriate to the outer situation. It was coming from somewhere else. Now क्या होता है? Usually कोई हमको हमारा friend well wisher बोलता है नहीं ठीक है यार, कभी कभी होता है. Or we tell ourselves ठीक है ना, he deserved it, right? Maybe he didn't say anything to me today, but 20 साल पहले उसने तो ऐसे बोला था, so he deserves it. आज ज़्यादा हो गया तो कोई बात नहीं. In reality, so what we do is we blame it on the outside. We explain it away, and that is also not our fault because अपने thinking brain का ये काम है. Reason ढूंढो, cause and effect ढूंढो. तुमने ज़्यादा कर दिया तो reason होगा ना उसका. Rather than that, you say अगर ये ज़्यादा हुआ response या ये response का इधर कोई sense नहीं था, ये variation था, then you say कि ये variation मतलब ये movie से नहीं आ रहा है, ये दूसरे वाले मूवी से आ रहा है, मेरी मूवी से आ रहा है. लेट मी सी कि ये जो वेरिएटेड रिस्पॉन्स है मेरे मूवी ऑफ लाइफ में कहाँ जाके फिट होता है, राइट? देन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड कि आप के अंदर वो कौन सा लूप है जो चल रहा है, जो सडनली लाइक अ अनार इट बर्स्ट आउट एंड देन यू रिएक्ट इन अ वे वेयर यू से दिस वाज नॉट मी. This response was not me. It was like, I don't know what happened to me. Those responses are you, but they are you not from this theater, they are you from this theater. So look at that theater again through your dreams, through where these pieces go and fit, right? Variations, bits in the dream, you will recognize ye loop which is running in the inner theater of your life.
Great. Thank you so much. It was very well explained.
Any other questions? Have we missed out any other questions?
I think we covered.
Anybody wants to say? So we wanted to continue this for about 30 minutes. We have happily exceeded our time, and as you know me, I can continuously go on for hours and hours, and people keep telling me Instagram में इतना लंबा नहीं बोलते. So I will take your leave. This is Chai Tea with Dr. D on our Instagram handle, Dr. Divya Clinic. We will be live every first Saturday of every month at 10:30 a.m. Meanwhile, keep a lookout, stay tuned in, log in, message, share, and follow us for our next episodes where each of them is tailor made for us to recognize, acknowledge, own this automatic part of our brain so that we are empowered to our own health, physical, mental, and our very beings, so that who you are and what you are, your purpose of being, your raison d'etre of being is fully fulfilled. So follow us on our next watch, tune in for the next episode on, is it a myth that if I'm stressed, I will catch more viral infections? I mean, headache hota hai, BP hota hai, I understand. But would I catch more viral infections if I'm stressed? As well as we will follow it up with some more sessions on dreams and what can you do about your dreams. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And once again, this was Chai Tea with Dr. D. Thank you, Dr. Megha, Dr. Charmi.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this amazing session. We're hoping for more such amazing sessions for the coming months.
Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Anjali, Meloni, Anjani, my friend from Los Angeles, welcome. So nice to see you. Shreyas, nice to see you too. Welcome, all of you. Kritika, please join us. Simran, thank you. See you again on Chai Tea with Dr. D.